The whole Christian Sanctuary Choir. Just let him in. All time stands. It's 8:30. We're going to switch over to Studio B and say good morning to you, Brother Michael Jenkins.
Good morning to you, Tater. Tater, a little bit lower. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. This is Michael Jenkins. Welcome to PeeDee sportswrap. I want to start out by thanking Miss Alice for baking me a wonderful pound cake. You didn't have to do it, but you did, and I appreciate that. It's definitely a blessing to have someone that thinks that much of you, or your wife, that they will, do something like this, do this kind of effort for you. So I appreciate it. I also want to thank all of you out there who wished me a happy birthday on last weekend. I had a great birthday weekend. Met with my children and grandchildren over in Florence, and we ate and talked and, reminisced about their old man's life. They always show me a good time, and they did this time as well. So to my 3 children, my son wasn't there. He's up there in Frozen, Indiana. But Kiana Frierson, she ain't Jenkins no more. Shauna Hemingway and Kalisha Gray, all married women. And you know what? That's one of the biggest blessings of all. To have 3 daughters locked in with wonderful husbands, not out there in the street running around. Don't have to worry about them. Never really had to worry about my daughters. They've always been pretty straight. I was more concerned with my son. He's been no problem either for the most part, but to have 3 girls, people say, oh, you got 3 girls. Boy, they're going to drive you crazy. My girls never drove me crazy.
That's right.
Thank you. They've always been, whatever they did, they kind of kept on the low. But I do remember several years ago, we were talking about kids going to the beach for, prom. And so I would say, yeah, my kids, they would never go to the prom without letting us know. Turns out they were down there too. But it's okay. I'm glad I found out like years later. But anyway, folks, back to the business of sports. And last night, all of you packed Marion's gym for the second of 2 meetings, 2 regular season meetings between Marion and Mullins. And the thing that makes me wonder, with the schools being as small as they are now, how many more of these Mullins and Marion rivalry games do we even have to look forward to? I mean, this could be over. It's not going to last forever. Mullins and Marion's rivalry, one time at some point, will probably be no more. Just like Britain's Neck and Terrell's Bay rivalry is no more. I mean, we're 2 single A schools now, folks, as of next year. So, I personally get a little worried because these rivalries have meant a lot to me over the years. The showdowns with those 2 schools and the passion on both sides is something that's going to go away, and it's not going to be long. I can't say how long, but I suspect it won't be that long. So we need to enjoy these now while we have them, because seems like Marion County High School is on the way. I'm just speculating. But as for right now, Roberto P., my homie, what's up, man? Long time no hear from my brother. How them Cowboys doing? No. Latron White, good morning. How are you, sir? And Mr. Brantley, Carl Brantley, good morning. Now, last night, first we're going to take a look at Mullins and Marion girls. And the irony is that in the first meeting this year, Mullins girls handled Marion over in Mullins. And of course, they were missing a key piece, was Marion. Malia Williams did not play in that game. So, she did play last night, and she was outstanding. And Marion pretty much jumped out to an early lead on Mullins, and then basically had to stave off a late rush by the auctioneers, who were coming, by the way. I mean, they were all over that thing in the second half. But Marion was able to beat them back and get the victory. Final score 52-44. Brianna and the Woodbury girl both kind of helped Mullins stage that comeback. But it was choked off by Williams and a kid named Ashanti Goss, who hit a few big threes. Ashanti Goss hit a couple of big threes, and Williams was dissecting the Mullins defense, from one bucket after another down the stretch. I knew that if Marion had a lead on them in the second half, of any size, that they would probably be able to keep it going, and not allow Mullins to get back in. Shatira Bethea also was impactful for Marion, as was Yanni, the little point guard, and the McKelvey kid hit a couple of big shots as well to help beat back what would have been a huge comeback and win for Mullins Auctioneers last night. So let's take a look at where Mullins is at this moment. They haven't had a great season. I kind of expected they'd be better this year, but of course there were circumstances that didn't allow that to happen, transfers and whatnot, because they lost a big piece in that the girl that's over at Ladder right now. But looking at the overall standings, Atlantic Collegiate Academy is the top seed, and they are 7-0, 14-2 overall. Kingstree, another team has been a problem. I mean, they are really good, and they are in second place at 7-1, 15-3 overall. At this moment, Marion is 4-4 in the conference, 13-9 overall. They struggled more early, but they've really kind of gotten their act together in the second part of the season. Jonathan Williams, my brother, Big Shackadoo. Then you have Lake City. They're tied with Marion right now at 4-4. Manning comes in at 2-5. East Clarendon 2-6, and Mullins is in 7th place, or last place in this region, posting a record of 1-7 and 3-13. For Marion's part, their record is 13-9 and 4-4 in the region. Let me see what they have going forward. Oh boy. Well, this ain't good. Their last two games are going to be, the Atlantic Collegiate game is going to be a problem. Those girls are really good, and I've seen them a couple of times this year. I've seen them when they beat Marion before. I've seen them when they came to Mullins last week. So they're good. And then you have Lake City to finish off their schedule. Now, there's no telling, well, let's think about that for a second. Right now, the Swamp Foxes are third in the region, which means that they're going to be on the road. Good morning, Miss Hemingway. How are you? Yeah, Miss Hemingway, they are pretty good. They're pretty good. I was really impressed each time I seen them this year, and they are going to be a tough out, no doubt about it. But Swamp Foxes and Mullins played a good game last night. And I hate it for Mullins that they're not going to have a playoff future this year. because they got some talented players on that team. For Marion's part, they are a team stacked basically with upperclassmen, with some youngsters sprinkled in. In fact, there's another kid I want to mention here about them from last, and that's Janiyah Hall. I want to say that is Kathy Hall's granddaughter. I think that's the one she's been telling me about. She's a junior this year. But looking at the rest of the roster, you've got Kristen Shaw, a senior, Shatira Bethea, who's a senior, Ayani Malloy, who's a senior, point guard. Shemaya McKelvey is a senior. Nevaeh Shaw is a junior. Lariah Avant is also a junior. Ashante Goss is a sophomore. Ashante Goss is a girl that you're going to really have to pay attention to the next several years because she is really good. She's got great handles. She's got a great shot. And she ain't scared. So be very aware of her going forward. Then you have Kirsten Woodbury. She's a junior. And, of course, senior Malia Williams, who's the de facto star of the team. And just, she's just everywhere. She plays softball, which is probably her number one sport, even though she's pretty darn good in basketball, too. And track, by the way. But you can't minimize her effort. By the way, for those of you from Marion that know, this is Sneeze, Leaping Sneeze from the Honey Hole. This is his granddaughter. And she's got some of his athletic ability going on here. She hustles, she's tough, and she's got skills. She can shoot the ball from outside, she can shoot the ball long, she can shoot it close. And she did both last night. And she's a tenacious defender, and she's got an unbelievable motor. She never stops. So, Marion will be in the playoffs unless the bottom falls out and they lose the next two games, and that could be a problem. But right now, they're in position to make a playoff appearance and a playoff run. Now, the boys' game last night was interesting. Mullins Auctioneers getting some measure of revenge, and at the right time, because this win last night by them over Marion pretty much seals their fate as the number one seed going forward for this region. And that's huge. That doesn't guarantee that you're going to win these home games that you have, but it makes you feel a little bit better about things and about the possibilities of doing more and going further. But I remember one year Mullins lost, I think in the first game. They had home court advantage. I think they lost in the first game. So that can happen. I've seen it happen to Marion many years ago as well. So just because you have home court doesn't mean you're going to be around to play a lot of home games. That means you could be gone. But at any rate, Mullins Auctioneers, good performance last night, up their record to 15-7, 7-1 in the region, which puts them first. And let's take a look at the standings here and see where they are. And there they are, sitting at the very top. Let me go full. Yeah. 15-7, 7-1. They lead Atlantic Collegiate, who is second, 5-2. Manning is 3 at 4-2. Marion is 5-3. So let's see. And then East Clarendon, Lake City, and King Street comes in last place. But Mullins is in a really good spot right now. And last night, the game was basically turned by KJ Ford. And you've heard me mention KJ Ford a lot this year. At first, I was mentioning him as backup, reserve kind of guy. That ship has sailed. Because what KJ did last night was basically put Mullins on track to win this basketball game. There was a stretch during the third quarter when he scored, I want to say like 9 points. 9 unanswered points by him. That set Mullins off on a run that gave them a lead that they never relinquished the rest of the night. It was KJ Ford. Now, the other guys, Dakari, Dion, I want to mention Braden Hughes, who was unbelievable last night. Okay? And then, others who impacted greatly last night for the auctioneers. And this guy's name deserves mentioning too, because Amir Lee. Now last week I put Amir Lee as my Facebook group cover, because I have been watching him closely since last year. I loved what I seen last year. I love what I see more this year from him. He has the energy, folks. He has the bounce. And he has some skill as well. And last night, he was everywhere. Guarding, rebounding, and scoring. With confidence. So, I was really impressed with what I seen out of him. And he and Braden, I thought Marion's front court would be able to dominate Mullins, or at least outplay them. That didn't happen last night. It was Mullins' front court that was better. Now, for Marion's part, the ball did not touch the big man a lot last night. Charles White struggled. He was in foul trouble. Roderick was in foul trouble off the bench for them. Picked up a couple of quick ones. The point guard, Grant, also was in foul trouble. So that didn't help their cause at all. Dion, got into some foul trouble late as well. But Charles White had a stretch where he was on the bench for a good while. As it turns out, way too long, because when he's out on the floor, Marion has a serious problem scoring. And he had to sit last night, I think, when he picked up his fourth. And he had to sit in the first half when he picked up his third. So his minutes were kind of limited because of fouls. But Mullins just was better. Their best players made big plays when they had to. And once they got things a little jumbled up out there, it really benefited them more. Marion's guard play was not good last night. As I said, the big man rarely touched the basketball. Because they just weren't getting them the ball. Turnovers really were a problem as well for the Swamp Foxes last night. Good morning, Mr. Loris Williams. How are you today? Sorry, TJ and them got beat last week. But it's okay. I'm still going to get a jersey. You told me you got yours the other day. But, yeah. KJ Ford was basically the story. To me. And, let's take a look at some other scores, shall we? Let's see. Marion girls and boys have the exact same record, 13-9. No. Yeah, they did. They had anyway. Okay, scores from last night. And let's go into classification 2A. By the way, I spoke with Dion Bethay, Gray, last week. Talked for a good while. Gray is the number one, was at least the number 2 team in the state. And he's very happy with where they are right now. And so it's the 23rd, was yesterday. Andrews and Philip Simmons. Philip Simmons came out a winner, 64-43. American Leader over 96 by a score of 73-56. Mullins over Marion by a score of 64-55. This is boys action. Burke Bulldogs over Academic Magnet, 58-44. King Street beat Lake City. I bet that was a fun one to watch last night. C.J. Gilchrist, my man. How you been, little brother? Long time no hear from. How's your mom and your aunt and them doing? And yeah, especially your aunt. Pelion and Batesburg, Leesville. That was a 53-48 finish. Saluda over Strom Thurmond, 52-40. Landrum nipped Liberty, 67-65. Eau Claire over Columbia, 67-55. Chesney beat BMCC, 83-39. Timberland over Woodland, 61-46. Now, if I wanted to go and take a look at some 4As, they make it very convenient to do so. Okay, whatever. Allow anything. It's today. Okay. In 4A action, Dreer beat York 46-40. Wilson all over Lakewood 70-45. You know, Wilson is doing pretty good this year. And Jaden Gerald is over there, Mark's grandson, and he's playing well too. Good morning, Miss Sharika Williams. Lower Richland beat Darlington 40. No, they didn't beat Darlington. Darlington beat them 50-41. And this happened. Looks like this game happened at Lower Richland. Blue Ridge 63, Travelers Rest 53. Greer over Berea 88-58. Bluffton beat May River 50-38. Pickens got beat by Seneca 57-50. Emerald and Lawrence, that's a 94-49 win for Lawrence. I don't have a score for South Lawrence versus Crestwood. Fountain Inn beat Southside 63-57. Who remembers when Southside was a 2A school? Joe's at 4A now. It seemed like all the schools in the upstate and the Midlands and Charleston, all these schools are growing up and getting bigger. Our schools are getting smaller. Our schools are melting away into, good morning, my dear sister-in-law, Marcina Jenkins. How are you? Glad you joined us this morning. Always glad when you join us. Thanks for taking care of me as a boy. I had to throw that in there. Bishop England got Colleton County last night, 62-50. AC Flora got pounded by South Point by 30 points, 64-34. Do we want to go 3A now? Let's take a look at the 3As for a second. And this would be Friday night. And, wow. Guess Georgetown is really as good as people think they are. I'm glad to see them good, but not at the behest of Dillon. And Georgetown came to Dillon last night to beat them 56-41. Union County over Woodruff 73-52. Mountain View Prep beat Greer Middle College 55-31. Walker-Mall Warriors took care of Marlboro County 52-41. So now Walker-Mall's a threat. Really? What's up, my fam? Man. Walker-Mall is a problem now. Oh, my goodness. You got Southside Christian and St. Joseph. That's a 50-44 final there. St. Joseph wins. Keenan beat Newberry last night, 62-49. Josiah, what's going on with Newberry, yo? Walhalla and Belton Honea Path. Belton Honea Path all over them, 87-59. Fox Creek and Swansea. Fox Creek, 96. Swansea, 39. Crescent and Pendleton hooked up in Pendleton, 55-37 win. Orangeburg, Wilkinson over Hanahan, 65-33. And those are basically all the scores I have or that I want to read. But now let's take a look at sports in general. Let's take a look at the NFL. Let's take a look at the fact that this is conference final weekend. Do I even know who's playing? I haven't really been paying attention. But I know Seattle is in there. I know that, who else is in there? Seattle, New England, Los Angeles Rams. Who's the other team? I don't like any of these teams. I cannot root for the Patriots no matter what happens. No matter what the year is. No matter what the sport. I often tell people the only use that I have for New England is my family that was up there. Other than that, I don't need them. So I can't root for the Patriots, and I'm not rooting for them today. Seattle, I could do. I kind of like them a little bit, but I don't like their quarterback, and I think he's going to literally throw the game away to the other team, because that's what he does. So the Super Bowl this year, I don't know how it's going to be. There's no Kansas City, there's no Buffalo. None of these teams are in it. So I think it's going to be flat. Okay. The NBA is moving right along. The Knicks are struggling, which I'm not surprised at. Coming into the season, Knicks fans are feeling really good, Knicks fans of which I am not one of. Denver, that's right, Latron. And I don't like them either. And now they're playing with a backup quarterback. Bruh, this guy only started a few games in his whole life. The game's going to be in Denver, so that might be good for them. I'm not rooting for the Patriots, so I guess I'll have to take Denver. The NBA is moving along. We'll talk more about them next week. But we should have a better idea where we are right now, where we will be with the high school basketball playoff, because that's up next. I told myself earlier in the year, I said, you know what? I don't know how many games I'm going to see this year. I'm going to have to plan this out before you know it, the season's over. Gone. When I started planning, the season was still going on, and now it's gone. No planning necessary now. Anyway, folks, that's all the time I have left. Hornets are definitely fun to watch. You're right. And I love LaMelo Ball. Love him. Take care, folks. Elliot Cross, thanks for joining me. Be back next week with more. Later.